Self-knowledge also has to be enjoyed and has to be taken sip by sip. And there is an entire lifetime for you to understand yourself and to work on yourself. About shame and guilt, right? So I have made it very clear that when we are internalizing the language of other people as to how we are talking to ourselves, supposing, say, my mother says that if my mother tells me that, oh, you're not doing a good job as a student, you're not giving it enough time, you'll be really feeling sorry for the way you're performing in your exams. Now, she did it once. If I do it repeatedly to myself, then I am rejecting myself. That becomes shame. If I am saying that, she gave me a feedback, let me think about it. First, let me ask if I agree with it or not. If I agree with it, then I'll think about making corrections at my own pace, at my own comfort, in my own plan. If I am doing it, then I am using guilt. Now, guilt also has an helpful and unhelpful way. When we are going on and on about the mistake that we have done, like the example that I have cited, as a student, if I'm constantly telling myself that, oh, my mother told me that I'm not doing good as a student, or I need to study more, I need to plan myself. So if I'm constantly in my mind and I'm thinking again and again as to how I am a bad student, then it is inappropriate guilt, because I am only focused on the emotion. I'm only ruminating about what I am going through, how I can better myself, but I'm actually not bettering myself, right? There is no action there. So whenever guilt leads to a lot of thinking about your emotions or your thoughts or your behavior, it is inappropriate. Whenever guilt is leading to some kind of an action, some kind of a thought which is leading to an action, then it is appropriate. It is like, you need to show it a thumbs up because you're working on yourself there. So it is always important to understand the action. I am upset with what someone has told about me, but how am I processing it? Am I able to tell myself that this is the feedback that they have given? Let me see how I can work on myself, and I am moving ahead according to a plan. It is appropriate guilt which is needed, because that is leading to a behavioral change. If I am only sitting at one place thinking about how people have been so hurtful, how they said things like this, how I'm not able to change myself, how I'm stuck at a place and unable to move ahead, then it is inappropriate, because it's not leading into action. So we need to understand what will bring in the action. This is the most important quote that is given here. I really like it. I use it as a self-affirmation also to my own self when I have low moods. All self-knowledge is purchased at the cost of guilt. So self-knowledge, which is the knowledge that we acquire about ourselves over a period of time. Self-knowledge is not like the money in your ATM, wherein I'm inserting and I'm taking all the money at a time. No, it has to be taken sip by sip. It's like a cup of coffee that you have in the morning. You want to have it sip by sip, right? You want to taste the hotness of it, the flavor, the how it feels in your mouth. You want to go sip by sip, right? Rather than taking it all at once. So self-knowledge also has to be enjoyed and has to be taken sip by sip. And there is an entire lifetime for you to understand yourself and to work on yourself. So all self-knowledge needs some amount of guilt, because only when there is guilt about the way we have acted or the way we have performed or the way we have presented ourselves in a role, which is to your mother, spouse, children, Only when the guilt is there, the change comes. When we don't feel guilty about whatever we have done, then the change comes. So the good news for all the women is, if you're feeling guilty that you're not being a good mother, or if you're feeling guilty that you're not being a good daughter or a daughter-in-law, that means you're on the right track. You're thinking about how can I make myself better in that role. So it's just about leading yourself to an action which suits you, because I got to balance between self and others as well. Right? Okay. I think before I take up the slide, I want you guys to do a small activity, which I also would be doing along with you. I want you to have a pen and a paper. If it is handy, you can do it immediately. If it is not handy, I can give you a few minutes so that you can get yourself one, or you can do it in mind as well. So I want you to make 4 quadrants on your page like this, if this is visible. Like, draw plus sign. Yeah, it is visible now. Draw plus sign on your sheet, the plus sign, and make 4 quadrants, which is like divide your page into 4 halves. Draw one vertical line and then a horizontal line. Your page becomes 4 halves, right? So we will start. Now, the first thing that you need to do is, in the first quadrant, we have 4 quadrants, right? 4 sections of the page. So I'm calling them as quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So in the first segment of the page, you need to draw a house with the hand which is dominant. Like if you are a left-hander, put your pen in left hand and draw the house. If you're a right-hander, dominant hand is right hand, put your pen in the right hand and draw a house. I'm also doing along with you. So we'll move on to the next segment, which is the second quadrant. Now you will have to shift your pen. So my dominant hand is right hand. So I'm now shifting my pen into my left hand. Okay. And now in the second quadrant, I have to draw a tree using my left hand. Be honest, okay? Draw a tree with your non-dominant hand. So again, your pen is back into your dominant hand, which is the right hand. And now the place to draw is quadrant 3. And here I will have to draw a person. Again, a person. I'm done. Now the funniest part, the last quadrant, which is left. Now again, shift your pen into your non-dominant hand. Mine is left, so I'm shifting it into left. Now you will have to close your eyes with your pen in the non-dominant hand. In the last quadrant, you will have to draw a cat. You will have to draw a cat, eyes closed, guys, and pen in your non-dominant hand. I'm done. Now I have an interesting question. Okay, we finished the activity, but you guys have to tell me, like, which character did you like drawing the most? The house, the tree, the person, or the cat? Someone says house. Arpita says house. Good. House, cat, tree. Thank you, Sapna, for turning on your video. So what did you enjoy the most? House, tree, cat. Wow. So mixed responses, I'll tell you. Okay, tree. All right. I'll tell you why I've asked this question. Okay, Sapna also enjoyed cat. Yes, yes. I always enjoy cat, irrespective of how many times I do this activity. I'll tell you why. Now, can you all just turn on your video and show me the pictures if you're interested? I'm starting with my. Why did I give you this activity is when we are constantly corrected all the time, the journey begins there. Yes, others do it, but when we start doing it to ourselves, when we start correcting ourselves, we get a fear of, or we develop a fear of making mistakes. You know, we become extremely scared of making mistakes. We become extremely scared of standing different from others. We become extremely scared of trying something new.